They say no instruction is truly idiot-proof because the idiot is always more resourceful. This video is 101 exhibits, proving that theory beyond a shadow of a doubt. We're about to witness a parade of Americans who saw a simple set of directions not as a guide, but as a personal challenge to be defeated through sheer, magnificent incompetence. 1. The recipe instructions said, separate 2 eggs. For one culinary trailblazer named Barb, this meant placing an egg on a cutting board and neatly slicing it in half with a cleaver, shell, and all. She then scraped both messy halves into the bowl, later complaining online that her cake had unpleasant crunchy bits. 2. A customer service rep for a keyboard company shared his favorite story. A particularly angry customer unleashed a 1-star tirade, claiming his wireless keyboard was a scam. He even included a photo of the useless keyboard, with the required USB dongle still sitting peacefully inside the original box. 3. An overeager gardener, Brenda, read the instructions on her tomato seed packet. Plant 1 to 2 seeds per hole. She interpreted this as, dump the entire packet into one single hole. A month later, she posted a confused photo of a single, horrifyingly thick green stalk, a monument to her inability to read. 4. After a 6-hour war with a flat-pack bookcase, a DIY enthusiast proudly sent a photo to customer support. All his shelves were installed backward, creating a series of useless, downward-sloping ramps. His angry question, how am I supposed to put books on this? Sir, with gravity being what it is, you can't. 5. A college student, let's call him Kyle, saw his add oil light come on. He dutifully bought a quart of 5W30, but where to put it? Ignoring the clearly labeled engine oil cap, he poured the entire thing into the windshield washer fluid reservoir. His first attempt to clear his windshield was, shall we say, vision obliterating. 6. The giant, bold-faced warning on the bleach bottle screamed, "Danger! Do not mix with ammonia." One cleaning fanatic saw this not as a warning, but as a challenge. Thinking 2 cleaners are better than 1, they created a homemade chemical weapon in their bathroom and had to be rescued by the fire department. 7. During a company's mandatory CPR training, the instructor said, check for a response. Tap them firmly on the shoulder and shout, "Are you okay?" One participant, during the practical exam, gently poked the mannequin's cheek and whispered, "Excuse me, sir, are you feeling all right?" 8. The instructions on a can of expanding foam insulation clearly state, use sparingly. Foam will expand 3 times its original size. One homeowner decided to fill a small hole in his wall with the entire can. He returned an hour later to find a monstrous, solid foam blob, consuming half his living room. 9. The automated passport photo booth gave a simple command. Please keep a neutral expression. Do not smile. One man interpreted this as, look as inhumanly terrified as possible. The resulting photo showed a man with wide, panicked eyes and his mouth agape in a silent scream. It was, of course, rejected. 10. A local library put up a sign for their new book drop. Please, no cash donations. The very next day, the librarians found it jammed. After prying it open, they discovered the problem. Someone had meticulously folded over $201 bills and shoved them through the slot, one by one. 11. The Q-tip box features a warning found in every bathroom in America. Do not insert into ear canal. For one man, that was merely a suggestion from a company that didn't understand his needs. He went to the doctor complaining of muffled hearing, only to have the doctor pull out an entire cotton head he'd lodged next to his eardrum. 12. A woman named Karen, wanting her dishes extra clean, decided to pour a generous amount of Dawn dish soap into her dishwasher. She then posted a frantic video to Facebook showing a tidal wave of suds pouring out of the machine, flooding her kitchen in a scene straight out of a low-budget horror movie. 13. A lottery ticket stated, "Scratch here to reveal prize. Void if validation code is removed." One hopeful winner, convinced the prize was hidden under the barcode, scratched off the entire ticket surface. It was a $500 winner, but now it was just a worthless piece of silver confetti. 14. A patient was prescribed medication with the simple instruction, take 1 pill with a large meal. He interpreted this to mean he should physically embed the pill into his food. His method? Sticking the capsule deep into the center of a hot dog like a tiny medicinal surprise. 15. The self-tanner bottle said, "Apply a thin, even layer and wear gloves." A woman named Tiffany, aiming for a deep tropical glow, glopped it on with her bare hands. The next day, she looked less like a sun-kissed goddess and more like a diseased giraffe with bright orange palms. 16. A college student, desperate for caffeine during finals, misread the instant coffee label. Instead of adding hot water, he just ate a heaping spoonful of the dry, bitter granules. His roommate found him 10 minutes later, gagging over the sink and spitting brown dust everywhere. 17. The GPS clearly announced, "In 200 feet, your destination is on the right." The driver, completely ignoring the giant road-closed signs and concrete barricades, dutifully turned right, driving directly into the freshly poured foundation of a new office building. 18. An HR email to the entire company said, "Please reply directly to me with your confidential answers." One employee, Dave, hit "Reply All" and sent his scathing, deeply personal critique of his boss's terrible breath and worse ideas to all 500 employees, including the boss. 19. A sign above the office coffee pot read, "You kill the Joe, you make some more." The next morning, a new intern was found pouring a fresh pot of coffee directly onto the old dead grounds of the previous one. He explained he was just making some more, exactly as instructed. 20. The IKEA instruction manual for a simple lamp showed a diagram of a light bulb with an X through it, meaning light bulb not included. One customer spent an hour on the phone with support, furious that the lamp wouldn't turn on, before admitting he never actually bought a light bulb for it. 21. The can of chili had a pull tab for easy opening. After failing to lift it for 30 seconds, a frustrated man named Frank took the can out to his garage, put it in a vise, and tried to open it with a hammer and a screwdriver. The resulting chili explosion redecorated his entire workshop. 22. A zookeeper was training a new volunteer. He handed her a bucket of fish and said, "Feed the penguins, but whatever you do, do not feed the sea lions." She nodded, walked over to the sea lion enclosure, and dumped the entire bucket in, causing a massive, slippery feeding frenzy. 23. Instructions for a new remote control said, "Remove plastic tab to activate batteries." A grandmother, unable to find the tab, decided the entire back panel was the problem. She pried it off with a butter knife, breaking the clips, then taped the batteries inside. Her complaint? The remote feels cheap. 24. A sign at the post office read, "Liquids must be in a sealed, leak-proof container." A woman tried to mail a live goldfish in a Ziploc bag half filled with water. She argued with the clerk that the bag was, in fact, sealed, and therefore she was following the rules perfectly. 25. The frozen burritos instructions read, "Remove from wrapper, microwave for 90 seconds." One individual, in a moment of profound laziness, just tossed the entire thing in, plastic wrapper and all. He then posted a 1-star review complaining that his burrito tasted like hot plastic and disappointment. 26. A sign at a car wash read, "Please close all windows before entering." One driver, apparently mid-phone call and completely oblivious, drove through the entire high-pressure wash cycle with his driver's side window wide open. He emerged on the other side, soaked and sputtering in a newly cleaned interior. 27. Eye drop instructions clearly state, "Tilt head back and apply 1 to 2 drops into each eye." A man was found by his wife standing in the bathroom, head tilted back, squeezing the bottle from a foot above his face, completely missing his eyes and just letting the drops run down his cheeks. 28. A Shake Well label on a carton of orange juice is pretty self-explanatory. But not for one man who, every morning, would open the carton first, take a big swig of the watery stuff at the top, and then shake it for everyone else. His reasoning? "I like to get it over with." 29. A woman bought a new electric toothbrush. The manual said, "For first-time use, charge for 24 hours." Impatient, she charged it for 15 minutes, used it until it died halfway through, and then returned it to the store, claiming the battery was defective and lasts less than a minute. 30. A sign at a beautiful scenic overlook explicitly stated, "Do not throw coins. It harms the wildlife." Directly below the sign, the cliff edge was glittering with hundreds of pennies, nickels, and dimes. Apparently, harming wildlife is a small price to pay for making a wish. 31. The instructions for a new wet-dry vac explicitly warned, "Do not use for hazardous materials." One homeowner used it to clean out his cold fireplace, creating a massive, highly flammable cloud of fine ash dust that coated every single surface in his living room in a layer of gray soot. 32. When Barry got a parking ticket, he decided to fight it. His ironclad defense? The sign said, 2-hour parking 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., and he'd been parked there for 3 consecutive nights. He genuinely believed the rules just took a break after sunset. The judge was not convinced. 33. A college freshman, facing his first ever load of laundry, saw the detergent box said, 1 scoop for a large load. Figuring his clothes were extra dirty, he logically dumped in the entire box. The dorm's laundry room was soon evacuated due to a catastrophic, suds-based environmental disaster. 34. You know those wet floor signs? For one shopper, it was a challenge. He took a running start, attempting a glorious slide across the linoleum. He achieved about 3 feet of glory before wiping out and single-handedly dismantling a massive pyramid of canned peaches. 35. The dreaded reply all apocalypse. It started when one executive, Howard, replied to the entire company with, "Please unsubscribe." This triggered a chain reaction of 200 other people replying all to say, "Me too," effectively creating a digital traffic jam of pure incompetence. 36. During a hotel fire drill, firefighters found one man patiently waiting for the elevator. When told to take the stairs, he calmly replied, "But the sign says not to use it in case of fire. This isn't a real fire." He seemed genuinely proud of his flawless logic. 37. A woman named Linda ran out of contact lens solution. Her cost-saving alternative? Her own saliva. The resulting bacterial eye infection was so severe, her doctor later used photos of her cornea as a cautionary tale for his other patients. 38. The cooking spray can said, "Spray a light coating on the pan." One aspiring chef, preparing for a pancake breakfast, interpreted this as, "Spray a light coating on the finished pancakes themselves." He then complained they were greasy and tasted metallic. 39. A family decided the perfectly manicured park lawn, surrounded by a dozen "keep off the grass" signs, was the ideal spot for their picnic. When a ranger approached, their defense was, "Oh, it's okay, the sign says keep off, not sit down." 40. A hotel key card has one job. But one guest spent 10 minutes trying to swipe it, tap it, and jam it in sideways before calling the front desk to report his door was clearly broken. The clerk had to walk him through the advanced technology of inserting the card. 41. The nail polish bottle suggested, "Apply a second coat for best results." One woman decided if 2 coats are good, 8 must be spectacular. She ended up with a thick, goopy mess that refused to dry for 3 days and collected every piece of lint in a 5-mile radius. 42. After wrestling with his car's foldable sunshade for 5 minutes, a frustrated driver just crumpled it into a ball and shoved it into the back seat. It violently sprang open moments later, terrifying his passenger who thought the car was exploding. 43. A zookeeper had to confront a man gleefully throwing Cheetos to the monkeys right under a "Do Not Feed" sign. The man's defense? "It's okay, they're the puffy kind, not the crunchy kind. It's softer for them." As if that was the zoo's primary concern. 44. An online recipe for chili called for 1 clove of garlic, minced. A commenter gave it 1 star. Why? She misunderstood and used an entire head of garlic, complaining that the chili was inedibly spicy and made my whole family cry. 45. The emergency exit row briefing on a plane is simple. When the flight attendant asked a man if he was willing to operate the door, he replied, "Well, that depends on the situation. I'm not really a take charge kind of guy." He was promptly reseated in shame. 46. Impatient with the patch test warning on her hair dye kit, a woman just applied the whole bottle. Her trip to the ER with a swollen purple face was a stark reminder that 48 hours is a time measurement, not a friendly suggestion. 47. A father assembling a swing set decided the anchor securely in the ground step was for chumps. The first time his kid got some real height, The entire A-frame lifted off the ground in a terrifying seesaw of pure negligence. 48. A woman returned a pot of brown, rotten cactus mush to the garden center, demanding a refund. When asked how she cared for it, she proudly stated she watered it every single day, completely ignoring the tag that said, "Allow soil to dry out completely." 49. The ATM screen said, "Please take your card." A woman, distracted by her phone, took her cash and walked away. She later called the bank to complain that their machine stole her card right after it gave her money, as if it were a high-tech pickpocket. 50. Convinced the ants needed help finding the bait, a homeowner broke open the plastic trap and sprinkled the toxic powder all over his kitchen counter. He effectively turned his food prep area into a tiny insect-sized minefield. 51. A restaurant had a sign, "Please wait to be seated." A group walked right past the host, past the line of people waiting, and sat at a dirty table. When confronted, they said, "Oh, we thought the sign was just for people who were alone." 52. The "No soliciting" sign on a front door seems clear enough. One salesman rang the bell anyway. When the owner pointed to the sign, the salesman smiled and said, "It's okay, I'm not soliciting, I'm just trying to sell you something." The door was then closed, firmly. 53. A woman bought an electric toothbrush with a manual that said, "Charge for 24 hours before first use." She charged it for 15 minutes, used it until it died, and then returned it, claiming the battery was defective and lasts less than a minute. 54. The password requirement was at least one capital, one number, and one symbol. One user's submission? The password, at least tone capital on a number and don't symb ol. The system's rejection must have felt like a deep, personal attack. 55. The microwave popcorn bag said, "Listen for popping to slow." One man, a strict follower of timers, set it for the suggested 3 minutes and left. He returned to a smoke-filled kitchen and a bag containing a single black charcoal briquette of sadness. 56. The instruction manual for a set of hair clippers came with different guard sizes for different hair lengths. One man, wanting a really short haircut, decided to use no guard at all. He was then horrified when he gave himself a patchy, completely bald look instead of a neat buzz cut. 57. A man installing a new ceiling fan ignored the part about securely fastening all blades. He flipped the switch, and the fan immediately transformed into a wobbly helicopter of doom, launching one blade across the room and straight into his new TV. 58. The automatic doors at a supermarket had a clear sign, "Please step on mat to open." One woman stood directly in front of the door, waving her arms frantically, getting angrier that the motion sensors were broken. 59. The instructions for a heating pad explicitly said, "Do not fall asleep while in use." A woman laid down on it, fell asleep for 4 hours, and woke up with a first-degree burn in the perfect rectangular shape of the pad. It was a painful, temporary brand of stupidity. 60. A sign at a scenic overlook read, "Do not throw coins. It harms wildlife." Directly below the sign, the cliff edge glittered with hundreds of coins. Apparently, the collective wishes of tourists outweighed the well-being of a few squirrels. 61. The ketchup dispenser at a restaurant had a small sign, "Please press button gently." One customer, apparently in a rage over his fries, punched the button with all his might. The dispenser retaliated, shooting a high-pressure jet of ketchup that hit the ceiling. 62. A new hire was told the office dress code was business casual. He showed up wearing a pristine tuxedo t-shirt, arguing it was the perfect blend of business, a tuxedo, and casual, a t-shirt. Technically, he wasn't wrong, but he was very, very wrong. 63. A beach boardwalk sign stated, "No bicycles or skateboards." A man was stopped while riding a unicycle. He indignantly argued that the sign didn't say anything about unicycles and that he had found a brilliant loophole in their oppressive system. 64. The prescription bottle read, "Take with a full glass of water." A patient told his doctor he was following the instructions perfectly. He'd take a sip of water, pop the pill, and then drink the rest of the glass. He was taking the pill with the water, not after it. 65. A public library's food and drink prohibited sign had one exception listed at the bottom. bottled water is permitted. One patron was found eating a full 3-course meal, arguing that since he had a bottle of water on his table, his entire setup was now permitted. 66. A man, seeing the check engine light, decided to investigate. He popped the hood and saw the engine was, in fact, still there. Satisfied with his diagnostic work, he closed the hood and just kept driving for another 3 weeks. 67. The instructions for using jumper cables are very specific about the final connection. Attach the last clamp to an unpainted metal surface on the car's frame. One driver, unable to find a good spot, just clamped it directly onto the negative terminal of the dead battery, creating a shower of sparks and a loud pop. 68. Trying to be helpful, a cat sitter saw the 10-pound bag of cat food was almost full. So she dumped the entire thing on the floor for the 2 cats, so they wouldn't run out. The owner returned home to a scene of gluttony and regret. 69. The office kitchen sign read, "Your mother doesn't work here. Please clean your own dishes." The next day, a dirty mug appeared in the sink with a post-it note. "My mother is visiting next week. Can this wait until then?" 70. The instructions for changing a tire say to loosen lug nuts before jacking up the car. One man jacked the car up first, then applied his full body weight to the wrench. The car spun on the jack and crashed to the ground, narrowly missing his feet. 71. A recipe for a frozen casserole clearly instructed, preheat oven to 400 degrees. One culinary artist, Kevin, tossed it directly into the cold oven, turned it on, and just hoped for the best. He later posted a 1-star review online, complaining the result was a cheese glacier on a burnt charcoal briquette. 72. The instructions on a bag of frozen French fries read, "Arrange in a single layer for best results." One man, in a hurry, just dumped the entire frozen brick of potatoes onto the baking sheet. He was later genuinely confused as to why he ended up with a mushy, half-cooked potato iceberg. 73. A sign at a dark aquarium exhibit pleaded, "No flash photography, it stresses the fish." A woman, snapping a picture of a giant octopus, used her flash anyway. When confronted, she confidently explained, "Oh, it's fine, my phone's flash is just an LED, not like a real flash." The octopus disagreed. 74. The IT help desk asked a user for a screenshot of an error message. The user, Brenda, then took out her phone, snapped a blurry, off-angle photo of her dusty monitor, and emailed the grainy image. Her follow-up note read, "Sorry for the quality, the lighting in my office is just terrible." 75. A man, thoroughly defeated by a child-proof aspirin bottle that said, "Push down and turn," decided to escalate. He took it to his garage, secured it in a vise, and attacked it with pliers. The plastic bottle shattered, sending 300 aspirin tablets cascading across his oily concrete floor. 76. A box of instant ramen has one core instruction: add boiling water. A college student, lacking a kettle, just added cold tap water and let it sit for 3 minutes. He then ate the crunchy, lukewarm noodles and told his roommate the flavor was disappointingly authentic. 77. The label on a powerful bathroom cleaner warned, "Use in a well-ventilated area." A woman proceeded to clean her tiny windowless bathroom with the door shut. She emerged 10 minutes later, coughing and dizzy, wondering why the company made a product that makes the air spicy. 78. A driver put $1 into a parking meter that said 25 cents for 15 minutes. He expected it to give him an hour of parking. When the meter only showed 15 minutes, he didn't assume it was broken. He assumed it was a scam and spent the next 10 minutes yelling at the inanimate object. 79. The assembly guide for a new office chair showed a diagram of 5 wheels needing to be attached to the base. One man, convinced he knew better, only attached 4 of them. He then called customer service from the floor, complaining about the chair's inherent structural instability. 80. A sign at a U-Pick strawberry farm said, "Please pay for all berries before eating." A family was found sitting in the middle of a row, surrounded by empty green tops. Their excuse? They were just taste testing to make sure the farm's quality was up to their standards. 81. The instructions for a new smart TV were simple: connect to Wi-Fi to access streaming apps. One man skipped this step entirely. He then spent the next day calling his cable company to complain that they forgot to install the Netflix and Hulu channels on his new television. 82. A medication label read, "Take 1 tablet by mouth twice daily." The patient returned to the doctor a week later, confused. He had been diligently breaking each pill in half, taking one half in the morning and the other half at night, thinking "twice daily" referred to the pill itself. 83. The airport security bin has a picture showing laptops must be removed from their bags. One traveler placed his entire, closed laptop bag into the bin. When the TSA agent stopped him, he argued, "But the laptop is in the bin, just like the sign says." 84. A pharmacy technician told a patient that his new prescription pills might taste a bit bitter. The patient returned a week later complaining that his medicine wasn't working. It turned out he had been diligently chewing the bitter pills instead of swallowing them with water. 85. A city bus had a clear sign, "Please exit through the rear door." One man every single day would push his way past everyone boarding at the front to exit there. His reasoning? He paid to use the front door to get on, so he was entitled to use it to get off. 86. The tag on a new pair of jeans had a washing instruction, "Wash with like colors." A woman, in her infinite wisdom, decided that since the jeans were blue and her new towels were white, they were like a sky with clouds. Her new towels are now a blotchy, depressing shade of light blue. 87. The CAPTCHA test on a website said, "Select all images with a bicycle." The user, seeing a picture that contained a single bicycle wheel leaning against a wall, did not select it. He later failed the test 5 times before complaining that the website was ridiculously unfair. 88. The fine print on a buy one get one free coupon stated, "Of equal or lesser value." A woman tried to buy a cheap bottle of soda to get a $300 television for free. She then held up the entire checkout line for 20 minutes, arguing with the manager about the definition of one. 89. The bottle of multivitamins instructed, "Take one a day. Do not exceed recommended dosage." One man, feeling a cold coming on, decided to supercharge his immune system by taking the entire month's supply at once. He spent the next 24 hours regretting this decision in his bathroom. 90. A museum sign read, "Please do not touch the artifacts." A visitor was seen resting his sweaty soda bottle on a 2,000-year-old Roman statue. When a guard intervened, the man said, "Relax. I'm not touching it with my hands. I'm using the bottle as a coaster." 91. A fire extinguisher has a simple 4-step instruction: pull, aim, squeeze, sweep. During a safety drill, an office worker pulled the pin, aimed it at the ceiling, and then threw the entire heavy cylinder at the base of the fire, as if it were a high-stakes game of bowling. 92. A man was trying to fill a prescription for his dog. The vet's instructions read, "Give 1 pill, twice daily, hidden in food." The pharmacist had to stop the man when he asked if the pharmacy also sold special pill-hiding dog food, because he thought that was a specific product. 93. A sign on a vending machine read, "Exact change only." A woman inserted a $5 bill for a $1 candy bar. When no change came out, she didn't get angry at herself. She started shaking the machine violently, convinced it had just robbed her in broad daylight. 94. The car wash ticket machine instructed, "Insert ticket with arrow facing up." A man jammed his ticket in sideways, upside down, and backwards for 3 full minutes. Finally, he got out of his car, walked to the attendant, and declared their highly advanced machine was broken. 95. A can of whipped cream said, "Shake well before use." One party host, in a rush, didn't shake it at all. He then tried to top a birthday cake and got a sad, watery spurt of propellant and thin cream, ruining the cake and disappointing 8 small children in one go. 96. A new employee was told to back up his files on the server at the end of the day. What he did was copy his files into a new folder on his own desktop and rename it the server. A week later, his computer crashed, and he learned a very harsh lesson about what a server actually is. 97. The instructions for a water filter pitcher said, "Discard the first 2 full pitchers of filtered water." One man saw this as a waste. He drank the first 2 pitchers, then complained to his wife that their new filter made the water taste like charcoal and weird plastic. 98. A sign on a gas pump read, Please turn off engine before fueling. A woman left her car running the entire time. When the attendant pointed it out, she rolled her eyes and said, "It's fine, I'm only getting $10 worth. It's not enough time for anything to happen." 99. A man painting his deck read the instructions. Allow 24 hours for stain to dry completely. After 3 hours, it felt mostly dry to him. He then walked across it, leaving perfect, sticky white sneaker prints all over his newly stained masterpiece. 100. The instruction on a bag of microwavable vegetables said, "Cut small slit in bag before cooking." One woman, seeing this as an unnecessary step, tossed the sealed bag directly into the microwave. The bag slowly inflated into a tense green balloon before exploding with the force of a small grenade. 101. A man trying to hang a heavy mirror read the advice online. Always locate a wall stud for support. He then proceeded to knock on the wall, and when he heard a sound he liked, he drilled a hole. The mirror and a huge chunk of drywall came crashing down 10 minutes later. Alright, that's the list. Now, for the real purpose of this video, I want the comment section to become a national registry of instructional failures. I want your single most boneheaded moment of misunderstanding, the one you told no one. If this video made you feel like a certified genius by comparison, hit the like button. And subscribe, because clearly, humanity needs all the help it can get.